Yep. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's good to see y'all. We are live and in motion for our book club. Those catching the recording, those tuning in and replugging in. Hope you guys are doing well. This is a call that we've been doing literally for 3 years, and as we conclude, dang, my light just rolled away. That's crazy. As we conclude another book, I just want to remind everybody the importance of application, because it's so easy to get caught up in the simplicity. What up, Imani? She's outside cleaning. I see you on a Saturday. Good, getting it. She said, "Motion creates motion, bro." Boom. Okay, boom. I will. But application. And application always begins as a thought first and foremost. And when there's more conviction and belief behind the thought, you can actually grow and get in motion. Hold on one second. Boom. Okay, heard Mikhail. But as actions beginning as a thought, if you know the conviction and belief of why you're doing it and what you're going after, the actions of what you're learning will be put into practice in application. Now, where I see that there is a lack of application is usually due to a lack of conviction and belief. You do not have clarity nor the faith to do the things that you're learning. And that's where you can get caught up in what I like to call personal development junkies. It's a fine line, you know what I'm saying? Because there's so much to learn, genuinely. Y'all, I know there's not too many people in here, so what's poppin'? We're gonna make it a little intimate, really quick. You know what I'm saying? Y'all throw a one in the chat or just unmute yourself or show me some ones. If you genuinely got overwhelmed when you learned that there was still so much that you did not know when you started to know more that you didn't know. When in terms of personal development, boom, right? It's like you open this door and you're like, whoa, this is all new and it's all layers. There's levels to this, right? And you start going in, and most people get way too caught up in the continuously learning part that they don't actually get the experience part, and it will consume them. So I just want to remind you guys, it's important to know this stuff and to read the things. It's, in my opinion, more important that you apply these things so that you can actually understand how they work and the principles behind them in your day-to-day. So before we dive into the discussion, as we wrap up the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell, question that honestly my guy Mikhail would like everybody to answer really quick before we get into discussion is, why do you want to lead? Right? You've all came to a certain perspective and part of your life where you're going after something. Each and one of you guys have gotten some sense of clarity about what those goals entail. And you've got to understand why you're actually going about this thing when most people won't or don't. Why are you going to go and do it and choose to sign up and step up to the batter's box to actually take a swing when you know what you're signing up for? Boom. So, who wants to start off the question? Why do you want to lead? Go ahead, Imani, you got it.
Good morning, guys. Happy Saturday. Why I want to lead, honestly, it started off as me just being a natural leader, then me discovering that I like being a leader, all to come down to I was called to be a leader. So it wasn't like something that I could really avoid when I realized I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to be a leader and lead in ways that really that God wants me to lead, and that I want to lead as well. It's all pretty much divine everything. Everything is divine, and I'm here for a reason. And I realize a lot of things that I want to do and the things that I have helps people with over the years has genuinely changed people's lives, and it's so beautiful. And I see the results. I had a I had a dinner with my friends on Wednesday, which was my birthday, and they just really said so many kind things about me and like how much I've changed their lives in so many ways, and it was really impactful because I know like by me being me and being that leader that I can help people do the same thing for themselves in their future. So I genuinely I'm grateful for all the skills that I've gained over the years because now I know like I want to do this so I can help the collective grow and go in a direction that is away from not even away, but like through the current conditions that we're all living in, like the economy, the political climate, just like people's lack of faith, and then a lot of people's faith. So the people with lack and with the faith, it's like I just want to be able to use my skills in my field to, to just help move the collective forward. And I'm not saying it's like this utopia, but definitely away from a dystopia that like low-key I see all the time. We're kind of like all those movies where you see dystopian universes and stuff is like not too far off from how we're living. So I was born to do it and I'm glad to follow it now. That's my leadership. So damn.
Let's go. I appreciate you, girl. Who's next? Amber, to catch you up real quick, we're answering the question, why do you want to lead, before we get into our discussion of the last chapters of the book.
Why you want to lead? Okay. I am glad that Imani said what she said because I was my initial response to that was like I didn't choose this. I feel like I'm a natural leader. I've been told throughout my life that like I'm a leader in different environments and circumstances, like even when I wasn't trying to be. So, to answer the question, why do I want to lead? I feel like it's partially like in my purpose, and it's also because, and like, I feel like this is an overstatement, but like, I want to change the world. And so that's why I want to lead. I want to make a lasting impact on people, the people that I care about, the people that I come in contact with, and even the people that I don't. Because the last law talks about it. I want to leave a legacy, and I can only hope that it would really affect generations to come. And yeah, I want to be an example for people of, like there are still good people in the world with good intentions and who just want to like genuinely help and want to do the right thing. Um, and I think that sums up why I want to leave.
Appreciate you, girl.
I can go ahead and take it away. So follow up on that, yeah, just why you want to lead. And it's just a question you ask yourself. If you had all the zeros in the bank, what is going to get you out of bed in the morning? What's going to be your driving force? Why are you doing what you're doing? And I've been listening to audios. Lisa Nichols said it pretty plainly. She said, if it starts and ends with money, it will be short-lived. If that's what you're going for, I mean, you'll probably get it, but it won't be fulfilling. It won't be your purpose, like your calling. Like we all said, it's been a natural calling for us, but it's not until we took the intentional time, to work on it and build on it. So like Rochelle said, I mean, there's just mass confusion, like Imani said, we're towards a dystopia. Like there's mass confusion, mass propaganda. There's so many people out here online trying to hurt people, trying to scam people. And just to know that, I mean, we have 7 people on this call that are committed to helping. So it's just I mean, it's beautiful. It really is. It's what we are purposefully working towards. And so that's just mainly why, obviously, we all have the natural leaderships, but it's not until the bigger purpose, like Marcus said, I think on an earlier call, it's bigger than anybody on this call, what we're trying to do. And well, I'll speak personally, once I um, not only, I guess, realize that, but I believe it. Like Marcus said, belief. Have had a full belief. So once that belief has been instilled in me that like this is this is what we're doing, and success makes decisions fast and changes them slowly. And this decision was made back when I first came in contact with TGF back in June, and we're not looking back. So that it's just honestly what's going to get me out of bed when when everything's um I just say like come to fruition, especially with well, I won't get into the book club. I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys.
Can you popcorn some?
I think that's it. I
Really
think
just me, you, and Mark, to
Amber,
be real.
the
So I'll
Yeah.
take it
yeah.
and you can go next. But we were just answering this question before we go all the way into everything else. Ultimately, I love what everybody said. You know what I'm saying? I do. I really love that. I will say that just like Sam said, like we're all born with leadership qualities, but at some point you literally have to choose. And the reason that I feel that we all got to choose is because of literally chapter 18. So I ain't gonna get into it either. But in that, the first paragraph, it says, why does an individual step forward to lead people? For every person, the answer is different. A few do it to survive, some do it to make more money, many desire to build a business or organization, and others do it because they want to change the world. And ultimately, Michaela is a mix of all of those reasons. Survival, truly for me, because I can't survive as a follower and just doing little shit. Like I literally feel like I'm playing under my potential, period. And so I gotta like go ham to the point where I'm gonna fall asleep wherever I'm at the end of the day. And if you didn't actually take progress, ask yourself real quick one more question. Nobody's got to answer it on this call, but an intentional question. Are you working hard enough for what you said that you just believe in and why you actually are doing this? Period. Are you taking necessary steps to actively lead and actively change the world if that's what you said you wanted to do? But in that, personally, I've always wanted to change the world. Ask my mama. I've been saying this since I was little. She'd always ask me how. I'd say you literally change it one life at a time by one smile at a time. So ultimately, that's always been my life goal. I remember telling Marcus that when I first met this dude. It's crazy. So that's really me. Like the reason for leading, I've always just wanted to do something bigger than myself. Back in the day, I used to say I want a statue. You know what I'm saying? I became a Christian, a real one, instead of like a play one. And I realized I actually don't want a statue. I just want to leave an impact and lead people the right way. So ultimately, the reasons why I changed, but we all trying to get this bag. We all trying to lead people, and we all trying to make a lasting change. But go ahead, Amber.
Why I want to lead. At the core root of why I want to lead is because it's part of my divine purpose. Like we believe in God and we believe that God is within every single one of us. And so to me, it's really like a responsibility that we have to ourselves to choose that in every single moment and everything that we do. And choosing to be a leader is a really big thing because yes, everyone's born with God within them, but there's a lot of people who are either afraid of leadership or just don't want to and don't value leadership and the role it takes and the sacrifice it takes. And that's something that I've chosen to value uh, within my life, within my family, and within my communities and everything. And yeah, so like at the deepest root of it, it's an inner calling. It's my purpose. Like my dad has always told me ever since I was born that I was a leader. And he literally whispered that into my ear every single day. And he told me that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I believe him. I believed him. And so yeah, so that's why I'm going to be a leader because yes, it's my purpose. You know, it's like if I believe in God and I believe the power of God is within me, that is in alignment with being a leader. And also too, like as like an act of service to my community and the people around us. There's people who need to be led, and there's people who need guidance, and there's people like, just to be frank, who really need to be like told what to do by somebody who is rooted in integrity with that. Because we all need leaders. Like we all need to be led by someone at one point in your life. Like you're either being led, um, or leading, but like you never stop being led. Like you're being led by God or being led by someone else. Like, there's always somebody else that could be leading you as well. And there's a lot of people who are looking for guidance, who are looking for the truth, who are looking to elevate, to grow, to love, to do all the things. And I believe it's our responsibility to be those people, to do that, and not just like push them off to someone else, or be like, figure it out for yourself, or or be like, I'm still trying to figure that out too. It's like, no, like if you feel a desire or calling towards helping somebody, towards sharing your wisdom, towards, it's your duty and your responsibility to do that, and to believe in yourself that you can do that. And so like a lot of times, like in leadership, I guess like in our development or just in this journey, um, I feel like sometimes we don't feel like we're leaders, or maybe we don't feel like we are because we don't have positions or we don't have whatever. But none of that stuff is leadership. Like you're a leader every single time, all the time. Like even in the most simplest of ways, like going to the grocery store. And this is a simple example that I might give, but this is a real thing that I'm like, it's like when you go into the grocery store and you see like the carts that are all out, right? If you have the mindset of like, that's not my job, I'm not going to do that. Don't be that way. That's not a leader. Move the cart, put it back where it's supposed to go, and don't be like, this is not my job, because um you're a leader in every single aspect of your life. And so that is my take on that. I think we're done.
Boom. My turn. Okay, real quick. So, I also feel as though being called to leadership is a spiritual obligation that you have the choice to accept or deny. And at the root of why I want to, it's really to embody every action, conversation, and intention based on who I follow, and that's Jesus. So, uh, that's my main reason why. A big factor of that leads into the fact that my family needs one. So, like, yes, leaving a legacy, but essentially having what I do through leading my family and being defined through service of others, so that it benefits the community as a whole, and not just the people that I care about or the people that I love. Because like we're generally called to do much more than just take care of our own household and our own things that we steward. We're called to help one another, uplift each other, and really bring God's kingdom on earth. So I aim to do that with my family first and foremost, so that through the actions and the words, people have that reference and we can actually like show that it works, because bro, my family's never operated the way that we're operating now, and it'd be uncomfortable sometimes, but it's different, and it's not like how it used to be. So that's progression and growth, and it really just came from a, like we want to be that. So that's the want to be able to give that legacy for my family and my kids, and I want to be able to have what we build collectively serve those around us, because that's literally what we're called to do. So that's why I want to, and that's what keeps me up at night if I ain't doing or I'm not there yet. So that's my main focus, as to why I do the things, so that when I've got the figures in the bank, like I'm doing it out of that passion and that fulfillment that comes when you really get to serve people and lead them. So it's different. Ain't nothing like it, truly. I always tell my peeps, man, I pray that you guys literally allow yourselves to step into that entirety of what leadership can entail, because there's nothing like someone else telling you that they appreciate you, or that they're grateful for you, even though when you're not seeking it, kind of wild when it comes out. But y'all, that type of fulfillment is different. It's spiritual, and it honestly brings so much freedom through the experience. So I'm grateful for it, and I'm excited to continuously, you know, leading by example and helping other people understand how leadership can really change the game. So appreciate the intimacy on that real quick. You know what I'm saying? Much love, y'all. Um, that being said, we gonna cover these last chapters of the book. I'm extremely excited because it's been powerful. But does anybody want to kick us off? Boo boo.
I can go ahead and kick us off today on this beautiful Saturday morning.
You got it, bro.
I appreciate y'all. Let me get my notes into got a lot of notes to go over, boys and girls, because this book has finally come to an end. But as it concludes, let us not forget the first 17 chapters that we went over, because it all really does come together. It's all just personally, all like going through these past couple weeks. We've been on this 90-day run, going on 4 weeks now, 5 weeks, and so it's just um personally stepping the steps that I know need to be taken, but not understanding why at first. And it wasn't until you just get in it. You're not, they say it regards to like parenthood, you're not ready until it happens. You're never ready. I feel like this was very applicable to the 90-day run. That you're not ready until you just do it. And then you just it's like I said that to say that we're gathering all these pieces, all this information daily. We're putting our brick down, brick by brick every day until it just clicks and it starts coming together. And you get enough puzzle pieces and you can start to see the bigger picture. And like Marcus said, we're in this to learn and we're figuring out. Well, I'll speak personally. I'm figuring out that there's so much that I don't know, but to learn that the questions that need to be asked to get there. Like before I was on this path, I never would have asked myself, what would happen if I compounded success daily for 90 days? That question was not in my world, in my bubble, in my mind. It wasn't until, I stepped this on this path and started really putting it together, and it starts coming together. And no, you don't know how big the puzzle is. You don't know how many pieces there are, but you see that there's a bigger picture and you just gather it. Each and every chapter, I feel like was a puzzle piece that I got to add to my puzzle. Okay, let's get into it though. The law of sacrifice. The example he gave was you either pay now and play later, or you're going to play now and the cost is going to be bigger later. So we pay we pay with our time. The example he gave was with his son. He said he was telling his son, say, hey, we're gonna go vacation. We're gonna go out of town on Saturday, but I need you to clean up the basement because we're gonna have some family come over. And that instilled in his son when obviously he didn't get the basement cleaned up, and guess who didn't get to go on vacation? It was my man John C. Maxwell. So it taught him that he had to sacrifice what he wanted. He had to sacrifice the time that he didn't want to, so he could benefit, with the greater reap. So I think that was very interesting for the law of sacrifice, because I mean it's huge. The law of sacrifice never ends. A quote that stuck out to me was, to go up, you have to give up. You know, again, I'll speak personally. The the idea of giving up control to get more control, it doesn't make sense, right? It's just like a paradigm switch. And so because everybody wants to have control, they want to, they want to lead, right? But through this whole book, I'm learning, Marcus says we're people categorizers and action watchers. You gotta have a team, and you got to, I mean, truly just trust your people, and you have to give that up, and you can see what it will do. It will expand your whole team, and then as you put more trust in your team, they will put more trust in you. But you have to be willing to sacrifice that control first and foremost. Just to kind of speed into it, because I do got a lot of notes. Um, the law of timing. I mean, it's crucial right now, especially in the crypto market and the cycle that we just happen to be in every 4 years. That we all know the urgency of timing, and we all know what a bad plan will do at the right time rather than the right plan at the wrong time. So it's very imperative, you know, that we read these books and we read them over and over again because the power and repetition, you know, it doesn't stick, and so you don't. You say you learn twice, right? You learn as you're learning, and then you learn when you teach it as well. So the power of repetition to go through this. The law of explosive growth. We have that's chapter 20. Um, he was saying how, we all trying to build teams and we're all trying to, attract. But if we want to see the exponential growth, and I believe it was chapter 17 or 16, the big mo, we want to experience the big momentum. We go from adding followers to we're just adding and to multiplying our team by attracting other leaders. And we also learned earlier in the book that if our leadership level is not higher than our follower or another leader, for example, they're not going to follow us. So we have to, again, before we build our team, we have to build ourselves. And so, let me just go off my notes because I know we're going to break it down more. Oh man, the next one's so good though. The law of legacy. I'll say this. Um, and what was it? I forgot. I've been listening to a lot of audio, so I don't know if it's in this. Oh, it is in this book. It is in this book. He said it just stuck with me that legacy is not what you leave for somebody. It's what you leave in someone. Because we all want to build, this is what we're doing this for. We are not doing this for ourselves. Nobody on this call can say, I am doing this for myself because you wouldn't be here. If you were doing this for yourself, you would have given up already because that's not enough to keep us going. Like if you're going to do something for yourself, like John Asseroff, he's an audio I listened to this week. He said he wrote down his goals on a piece of paper, and when he was 19 years old, and it was just the questions about when do you want to retire, all these things that he had never even thought of. And when he wrote it down, I want to be 45, retired with 33 mil, whatever. His mentor asked him, "Are you interested in achieving these goals, or are you committed?" And that really stuck with me because he went on to explain that if you're interested in achieving your goals, you're going to do you're only going to do it when it's convenient, when it's easy, when you want to. But if you're committed to your goal, you're going to attack it. And you're going to be all in and do what you need to be done to achieve that goal. Because um, I know I mentioned it earlier, Lisa Nichols, that if it starts and ends with money, it will be short lived because if that's what we're going after for monetary gain for ourselves, I mean, we've all touched on it. Leadership is a spiritual journey. I mean, to be frank, you can't half-ass it. You can't fake it. Like people will see through the BS. They will see through your intention because your intention is for yourself. Your intention is not to serve others. Your intention is not to help. You want to help because you want to. They say, "I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back." Like that's not reciprocal. I don't know, reciprocity. It's not reciprocated. You're making a barter. Like,
Reciprocal.
well, yeah, that's but there's another word.
Reciprocal. You got
Reciprocity is what I was looking for, but thank you.
Yeah, it's
Um,
reciprocity or reciprocated, one of the two.
yeah, yeah. um,
You said it right. You
yes.
He
said
was
it right.
Yeah, I appreciate
English,
you.
man. It's good. It's all good.
Just edit it out. Just edit it out. Yes, it's a barter. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. It's not I'm doing this for you because I want to. So I'm doing this for you because you're gonna get me back. And so with that intention, I mean it's seen right through. So we can understand that it's not true. Um, so as far as the book and the chapters, I mean that's what I really resonated with. Um, I mean, what we really talked about before is really touching. I want to speak on that because, like you said, why are we leaving? Um, a mentor of mine is Eric Thomas. He says people look at him as a motivational speaker, and they look and they say, I want what you do. I want to do what you do." And he looks at them and says, "You want what I did? But do you want to do what I did?" And it's so big because people just see the benefit, they see the good parts, but they're not willing to obviously put in the work, or even like what we're doing now is figuring out what the work even is. They want shortcuts, and there's no shortcut on this long run. So I think I touched on all my notes. I think Amber spoke on it before the call, that it made me remind me of what Jim Rohn said. We want to leave value everywhere we go. We want to leave things better than how we got them, and that is applicable to everything, to the fact of like an automobile. If you buy a car and you want to sell it later, well, you got to maintain it. You got to keep it to its value so you can sell it at a profit. I know we don't want to view people as transactional, but if we keep that same light on people, we want to add value. When I meet somebody, I want to leave and they feel 110% of themselves because we poured into them and gave value without the intent of receiving anything. And you have to understand that if you are if you are just out for yourself, it just won't work. It just won't work. And that's really all I had as far as the book and the chapters go. I'm really excited to go back and reread this one, um, as we just keep moving forward. But to speak, because we are a smaller book, my goodness, we are a smaller book club. So to be more intimate on this week specifically, to tie into the law of timing, this week with family and Thanksgiving, I know Mikhail spoke on this earlier, that you once we all understand what we're here to do, and it's very evident because I've been in the run, 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 go mode, since June, to finally, like, I guess, take a step back. And but I really won't say that. It's really just spending time with the family and just being present with them, to realize that there's so much time. People have so much time. You know, of course you want to spend time with family and appreciate those moments, but there's so much time, to be frank, wasted, guys. Um, 2 whole days watching football is ridiculous. It was crazy to just be like, okay, so this is what I was doing for like, well, my whole adult life. To be frank, like, just thinking, oh, I don't have the time, I don't have this or that, but we have it, guys. Like, we have every single moment we need to be intentional with. And it's just, Mikhail said it. I mean, we woke up. I woke up from the Matrix and realized that if I do what everybody's done, if I've done what I've always done, I will get what I've always had. I mean, I look back at the last 6 years of my life, and I notice the patterns and I guess the bliss, just accepting everything for what it is, and not, you know, being purposeful, not having any intention, not having any motivation to create something. And so with this opportunity that we have presented in front of us, each and every one of us do, you know, to keep on moving forward and working towards something, and not go back to the live, because all of our minds, just on this book alone, I know this is nobody's first book on book club, but just this book alone has expanded our mind. Um, and once they're expanded, you can't go back. We have seen the other side. We have been in contact with seven-figure earners, six-figure earners on the daily. Like, we are, we have access to these rooms that are not to be taken for granted, because we are awake. We see the vision, we see the belief that we have and what we're working towards. So, um, I encourage you to keep that in the forefront of your mind as we move forward to the end of the year. I mean, there's 4 weeks left of this year, guys. So we have to keep pushing forward. And I'm speaking to myself. mainly because it was very clear that there's there's so much time that we just throw away. We spend and we waste time more than we waste money and spend money. You know, it so this week was very big and clear of just like oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it and this is why I would never go back to doing what I was doing again with the masses. So I know it's a bit of a sweet line, you know, you got to appreciate family, but um honestly there's it's go time. So that's really what I got out of this book. Um I wrote measure the stick of yourself because we're like I said, we have a bunch of excellent leaders that have been working on themselves. And if you were to compare yourself to someone that's been doing this for a decade, you're gonna feel like you're falling short. So I encourage you to not to measure your success on your own meter stick and see where I was 6 months ago is way or where I am today was way further than where I was 6 months ago. But if, of course, I was looking to, of course, you know, a seasoned mentor like Eric Thomas, I'm going to say like, oh, I don't have any leadership skills. So I, I encourage you to not compare yourselves um, when you look at others. Um, just when we're looking at others to see what they have, just make sure they have enough. Don't look at them and compare to what you have. And I think that's just really big. Let's see. I think I will leave it at that. I appreciate y'all giving me the time to speak, get that off my chest. I'm very appreciative of y'all, and I love this book club. I cannot wait till the next one. And I see Rochelle ready to go. And if you're ready, take it away.
Thanks for sharing, Samuel. Um, I let's see, I was really not ready, but I can get ready. Um, so I li like to listen to the audio for this. He did like a lecture, um, which is more of like a conversation. Let's see. So the law of sacrifice. Um, this one was really good. When he was talking about I made a Facebook status of it. He said he said the longer you wait to pay the price, the higher it gets. And that stuck out to me a lot because I think about that song, You Wanna Be a Boss? You gotta pay the price. And like the the longer you wait, Sam touched on it, the higher the price gets, and um you can like I think it was this chapter he was talking about um sacrificing personal or immediate pleasure for something. Let me see if I can find it in this book. I don't know. He said a lot, but he said sacrificing immediate pleasure for like a long-term success or something like that. I don't know what he said, but that part stuck out to me a lot too because I think about how humans love instant gratification. Like we want what we want and we want it now and we want to feel good now and we want to have fun now and we want, to we want everything now and don't think about how our choices now can affect the future. And I mean, some people think like that. I used to think like that. I didn't used to make intentional choices that would impact my future in a good way. All I was thinking about was the here and now and like um it's good to be present, but it's also good to like keep the future in mind. And along the lines of the law of sacrifice, like I think he was talking about how, or my interpretation of it was like if a a leader wants to be a great leader, they have to be willing to sacrifice some things. Like, there's no way that the leader can that I can become a great leader if I'm not willing to, you know, I have to sacrifice things like having fun with people, going out, getting new clothes, looking stylish. I mean, I'm gonna still be stylish, period, because I make it do what it do. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get to go out to eat and do all those things, and like that's all because I'm sacrificing all of that so that later in life I can have all the good eats. I can have all the good clothes. And I mean it's not just about that, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's what my interpretation of it was, is like if I want to have certain things in the future, like I have to sacrifice certain things now. And he said there's no success without sacrifice. Um, yeah. Just like you have to give up to go up. I remember he was talking about you have to give up to go up. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot in this book. I'm not about to reread the book to y'all. But I really liked a lot of sacrifice. Yeah. I also feel like that law speaks about to like the selflessness, like um a leader can't be selfish because it's not about just the leader, it's about the whole team that they're leading, and it's about the purpose as to why they're leading. And so like I have to sacrifice things that like personal pleasures and whatever I want and need. I mean not whatever, but I have to sacrifice some things that I want and need in order to be able to be the best leader so that I can serve others. The law of timing, he said the law of timing was like knowing when to make a decision is just as important as the decision itself. Um, Trying to remember what he talked about. I don't know. This is why I didn't want to go. So he talked about good leadership timing requires many things: understanding, maturity, confidence, decisiveness, experience, intuition, and preparation. Um, This also, he stated that this law of timing is similar to the law of intuition in that it's hard to teach people and it's hard to learn because it's one that is like more of a natural law. Like when you describe the law of intuition and it's hard to teach that to people, it's because like intuition is just a thing that you know when you know. And it's similar, the law of timing is similar in that you know when you know. That's that's how I interpreted that. Um, and the wrong action at the wrong time can lead to disaster versus the right action at the wrong time brings resistance. So I wanted to speak a little more on that. Like he was talking about if you have a plan or an idea you're bringing to your group of people and it is the right thing to do, but it's the wrong time, people will be resistant. They will not be open to it. Um, and that's an example that I've seen in real time. And then the he says the wrong action at the right time is a mistake. And then he goes into talk about that more. But then the right action at the right time results in success. So that's kind of what it all boils down to. I think this is when he brought up in the audio, at least he brought up President Jimmy Carter and how President Jimmy Carter was elected literally off the law of timing because everybody in America, for the most part, was tired of people of the Washington, tired of presidents coming from Washington and having this like Washington, what you call it, like being a certain type of rich, wealthy, politician type person. They wanted to elect somebody that was more of a people's person or whatever. I don't know. Jimmy Carter was like a peanut farmer and he was Southern and he had a jacket. And so he would come up and be like, just chill. And everybody was like, that's who we want to be our president. And then he ended up being a terrible president. Like that 4 years he was president, interest rates had gone up and all this stuff. And um, it was the law of timing. Let's see. So there's a lot in that one too. The law of explosive growth, this one was good too. Because he was talking about how some leaders lead followers and some leaders lead leaders. Oh my God, yes, Mel, hey.
Hey.
Um, and so the
Welcome, brother.
he was talking about math, and he was like the math of a leader that leads followers is addition, and the math of a leader that leads leaders is multiplication, which I thought that was really cool. Um, and I think about like our organization, I don't know, TGF, and like how I feel like our leaders are teaching us how to be leaders. They're not just like teaching us to be followers. That's what I was thinking about this whole time. Um, this is so interesting. In the book, he says leaders are naturally impatient. At least all the leaders I know. Leaders want to move fast. They want to see the vision fulfilled. They delight in progress. The leaders quickly assess where an organization is, project where it needs to go, and have strong ideas about how to get it there. The problem is that most of the time, the people in the organization lag behind the leader. For that reason, leaders always feel a tension between where they and their people are and where they ought to be. So then, I don't know, he just like goes in with more perspective and I need to go back and actually read this because there's a lot more in the book than there is in the audio. But the favorite one I wanted to talk about is the law of the legacy. I really like this one. Um, a legacy is, I think we all know what that means, to leave a lasting impact on people. And he literally says in the first sentence, "What do you want people to say at your funeral?" I think about this all the time. I think about when I die, what people are going to say about me and what memories am I going to leave, and what impact am I going to have had on people. And it's really important to me to leave a legacy that does something for people. Like, I don't want to be somebody who just dies and then they get together at my funeral and they just, Rochelle was a sweet girl and we loved her so much. She'll be missed. Like, I'm not trying to have that kind of a funeral. Like, first of all, y'all better be turned up. And then, like, second of all, like, I don't ever want to be forgotten, but it's not that. I don't say that in like a selfish way though. It's like I want to be like Michael Jackson, Like Michael Jackson left a legacy when he died. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of, well, I don't know if I want to be let anyway. The law of legacy is really important. I feel like it really ties in all of the laws together because um uh, once a good leader has become an excellent leader, then like their legacy is going to be like what legacy they leave behind is going to be automatic, you know? Um, yeah, he says, if you desire to make an impact as a leader on a future generation, I suggest that you become highly intentional about your legacy. I believe that every person leaves some kind of legacy. For some, it's positive, for others, it's negative. But here's what I know. We have a choice about what legacy we will leave. We must work and be intentional to leave the legacy we want. And then he goes into explaining how to do that. And he talked about when he trains leaders, that he always wants to be able to create leaders that are going to surpass him. Like a great leader will teach leaders how to do better than them. And that's the part that most leaders are not going to do. They're selfish in the fact that they don't want someone else to be better than them. and that's the kind of a leader that leads followers. The kind of a leader that leads leaders is the one that wants to, he says, make sure you pass the baton, like passes the baton off to somebody that is not only going to do what he did, but do it better. And then, like, that's, hopefully a cycle that continues to go on and on and on. And that's what creating a legacy really means, like, to me. Um, and I think that's all I want to say. I'm gonna popcorn some markets.
Boom, what's poppin', y'all? Um, Appreciate you, Sam and Roshizi, honestly, giving y'all's perspectives and what y'all were able to talk about. I really wanted to touch on really quick what Roshizi had spoken about in terms of the perspective of multiplication and not addition. Boom. Can you remind me what chapter that was from, Roshizi, so I can pull it up?
Law of timing, 20, I believe.
Boom. Thank you. Appreciate it. Boom. So everybody knows that I be liking the hard copies as well, but I be leveraging our tools and resources. So I be having the e-copies in my book. It's so different all the time to have it in there as well. But it's so different because I'm so used to writing it down. But I get to highlight too on my phone. It's just sometimes the highlight function on my iPhone messes up. So some of my notes get erased, but it's all smooth. A lot of the things that really stood out to me in terms of chapter 20 and the law of explosive growth is to add growth, you got to lead followers, but to multiply, you got to lead leaders. So as Roshizi had brought up, it's such a vital point that I think a lot of people overlook, because you might understand that you need that actual multiplication, but if you are not leading people in the direction so that they can lead themselves and lead others, there's no way that you can actually multiply. You will only simply add. In addition, adds growth, but not explosive growth, And in the process, if you're only leading followers, if you're only leading followers, you are capping not only your own potential, but those around you as well. Because as the leader, those individuals are looking towards you. They're following you. Leadership defined by John C. Maxwell. Does anybody remember? I just want to see what's popping. Because I say it pretty often, but it's written in the book multiple times. Does anybody remember what the definition of leadership by John C. Maxwell is? Just a little boo-boo. Simply put, going once, going twice, sold to one of the TGF founders. All right, cool. Leadership is nothing less, nothing more than influence, y'all. It's an ability, and that's not just a noun, that is a verb. All right, to influence means that you have to be of value to people around you. You got to add value to yourself so that you can add value onto others. By law, in the law of compensation, you are going to get paid based on the value that you provide to the marketplace that you serve through whatever product or service you provide. Period, point blank. That's how the economy flows. Cash flow, cash itself is nothing more but energy. So what I understood about growth, and it's very important because I really do feel as though the partnerships and the conversations have been aligning. I love how like the book be aligning with my life. It's kind of crazy, but it's been preparing me because we're about to have some explosive growth with systems. But more importantly, what's most important about that is the ability to scale. And this is, while I was reading chapter 20, it made me reminisce of a conversation that I had with a partner that we're getting things in tune. But she had a successful business out in Brazil. And she specifically spoke about how when she was scaling, her issue was the value being maintained of the service she provided to all types of her clientele. Like, she did big business in Brazil. Okay, she had well over 50 clients, and majority of it was being ran through her and her business partner at the time. Then she started growing because word of mouth referral started going crazy because her value in her product was top tier. So people were like, yo, you need to go check her out. She started having an influx. She started bringing people in. She had people in motion to follow a system. But what she understood, these were her words and not mine, okay? When she attempted to scale, the issue that she ran into was maintaining the value because she had to train the people that she was bringing on to her team. Okay, that is development of leaders. She understood the power of multiplying, and it's why when she decided to move over here to the United States, her focus has been, I need systems, I need automation, and I need to help my people develop so that I can be hands off. Okay, I know we say this a lot in the realm of direct sales, in the realm of what it is, but it's business, period. If you understand that you have to lead others, you are either, when you decide to pick up the mantle, you're going to lead either followers or you're going to lead leaders, and that's solely dependent on how you choose to lead. And if you want to be of service to those around you, you will add value to their life in a way that, as Sam said earlier, you're not looking for a return. You want to see them get better than you. You know, so that was like one of the dopest things that I was like, as I was reading, it was very pertinent because the reason why I feel confident in where we're going is because we're not just developing the systems, y'all. We've been helping leaders for some time develop as the best version of themselves, whether or not they're a part of our organization, because we genuinely want to see people serve others. As Mikhail said, as a lot of people on this call said, I want to change the world too. And I understand that starts with one person at a time. You know, so I love John C. Maxwell. He takes that same type of biblical approach. But here's what I wanted to add from that chapter. He said, if you develop yourself, you can experience personal success. If you develop a team, your organization can experience growth. If you develop leaders, your organization can achieve explosive growth. And all you need is a different focus. So as you are zoning in, you got to understand where you're at. Period. Got to understand where you're at. If you are getting your things in tune to lead yourself, then show up to lead yourself as best as possible, because no one is going to follow anybody who cannot lead themselves first and foremost. You show that through example, right? So you zone in, you lock in there. But then when it's time and you've led yourself and you're leading others, not just by action, but through intention, right? That allows you to shift your focus a little bit. All right, bet. Now instead of just solely focusing on me, I've got to pay attention and focus on others. And once you have that second and third level of leadership, I'm referencing to 5 Levels of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. It's a book we all read together about a year ago. If you've never read the book, write it down, jot it down. It's one of them ones. We read it as a squad. You can go catch the recordings. They're public. Okay, but what I want to say is 5 levels of leadership. Level 1 is title. Level 2 is permission. So once you start getting permission from others to lead them, they're seeking your leadership and they're leading you because they want you to lead them. And then level 3, because of the results that you're getting as a leader, leading yourself, then you can again shift your focus. All right, now that I have people that are following and doing the things, I can help them develop and learn how to lead themselves so that they can lead others. It's literally just passing on the growth and not making it about you. I think it's the biggest part, right? We zone in because we know we need to get better. We know we want to provide better. But the way that you get better is if you go actively with intention, make and help others get better from the smallest of things. You know what I'm saying? If it's helping your family get the groceries out of the car, like to helping somebody down the street understand what they might be going through just by being an open ear. There's so many ways in which you can lead by example, and I understand that if you can you can get in tune of developing yourself, you'll attract those individuals and then you'll be able to grow. So kudos to both of y'all. I think y'all did an amazing job covering the chapters on that regard. In terms of the law of legacy, the fact that the few leaders actually pass it on is because I really think everybody has a heart of gold, just as much as we have bad side as well. We're not perfect, we're human beings, right? So even though you and I have good intention, you've got to recognize where your weaknesses are at, where your strengths are at, so that whenever you receive the promise, you don't only fumble the bag, but you steward over what is given you correctly. Okay? I'm a very faith-driven individual, so I understand that if I steward over the little, I'll be allowed to be steward over the many. So I just focus on steward over what I have to the best of my ability. And under knowing that I have a business, but it is not my business. I'm stewarding over God's business, period, point blank. That's how I operate, that's how I move. When you recognize that, you can have that intention, but you're still a human being. So whenever you get the promise, if you worked on yourself enough to maintain the promise, to keep it, and to serve others with it, I think that we fall very, very quickly to ego and selfish desires. We're human, like sometimes it happens. So in order to check yourself, I think important of community like this is so vital. You know what I'm saying? Like I am able to move correctly because I have other people who are keeping me accountable. Intelligent people understand the importance of accountability. Fulfilled and successful people create the accountability in their life, you know? So having the intention, having the conversations and being real, that helps you be checked and in motion so that whenever you get there, you remember what the focus is, and that's to improve and help others around you. The more that you help others get what they want, you can get what you want. And that's the principle. At first, when I kept hearing this type of stuff, it didn't make sense to me because I'm like, how am I supposed to take care of everything I need to take care of if I'm helping other people take care of what they're taking care of and I'm disregarding? And that's not the entirety of it. The focus is, where is your heart posture and what are you focused on doing? What is beneath the obvious? If your intention is to serve other people, then you will do that despite what you're going through, despite how you feel. But if your intention is only to self-promote, you ain't even making or blinking an eye. You ain't even taking of the energy. In fact, most people for years, I thought I really cared about others until I recognized how much I didn't put the time that I thought I didn't have into helping others. You know, so part of the process in that leadership is that self-reflection and understanding, accepting and improving where it is that you're weak, maintaining the environment so that whenever you get there, you can maintain the legacy because you got to ensure that you pass the baton. I tell this all the time, right? To especially my siblings. My goal is to change our legacy in our family. If that's the case, it literally has to start with how we communicate with each other. And I'll sit there and I'll look at them. I'm like, it literally has to start with us doing different than what we've seen. Us talking to our nieces, our nephews, our sons, and our daughters in a different manner than what we were experiencing. And it's literally right now. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple brothers and sisters that each got a kid. Got one that has a whole nother one baking in the oven, ready to come out in the next 4 or 5 months. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of wild that what we were preparing for or used to talk about is here, and now we have the opportunity to lead. Like that's the most beautiful part. You always have the opportunity to step up. Whether or not you want to is going to be based on where you're focused on and what your intentions are. So even if you have good intentions, you got to be mindful. You're always going to have different trials and situations. That's why it's important to maintain and establish an environment and a community of people that you can literally grow with, develop with, and be in motion with, so that not only can you sharpen your own axe, but that forging fire can sharpen each other's axes, right? And you can absolutely do more whenever you have more than just yourself. It's always fact. I don't know why we have an environment that really believes they can do a lot on their own, and you can, but you can do so much more for so much more longer when you do things as a collective. And we were never designed to do them on our own. Like, if you don't want to take the faith or spiritual perspective on it, just look at animals as a whole. Like human beings, we die when we're by ourselves. Like we have actual chemicals that get released when we're around people and we communicate or we touch each other. It's actual real life. So we were packs from the beginning. Otherwise, we died from getting eaten by these animals out here. We had to stay together. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand how like we don't have to fight for our lives and we lose these common principles. But it's just convenience, yo. And you got to remind yourself like where you're at so that you can lead in the best manner possible and pass these things down to those generations by generating the information, but the willingness to set that example. He said, we have made at least a start in discovering the meaning in human life when we plant shade trees under which we know full well we will never sit. And this is what I wanted to touch on because I know that I'm stepping into an entirely different season of my life. And everything's purposeful. And when I read that, it's crazy because I used to tell people like, do you actually want it that bad where you're willing to go after a vision that you might not see come to full fruition in your lifetime? And I would always talk about Moses and how Moses was promised to lead his people out of Egypt. And he did so. And God had told him, we will take you to the promised land. Moses did not get to see the people actually walk into the promised land. He saw it from the horizon and he died. And it passed on to the next generation, his son. So in that being said, like, are you willing to do the things even if it doesn't happen in your lifetime? And I had to, when I heard that question for the first time and I asked myself that, my answer has always been yes. And I knew that I meant it, and it's crazy how much the pressure turns up from that point. Because if you're going to do that, you got to actually lead. And that requires you to sacrifice. I'm not going to read over what you guys covered because I think I did a great job covering the law of sacrifice. But overall, you've got to sacrifice and you've got to be the one. If it's not you, then who? If it's not now, then when? Y'all hear these all the time, right? And we laugh and giggle, but it's like so real. People just don't actually gotta be willing to do this. Everybody's capable. You just gotta be willing to give up so you can go up, as Mikhail said. Give up so you can go up. So, yeah, man, leaving that legacy of succession and understanding that, like, hey, we're gonna do the work and we're gonna create it, and we might not see all of the fruits come to fruition until we up in heaven watching the thing play out. But best believe we gonna answer the calling and make the steps, you know? So I take a lot of John C. Maxwell's teachings very, very serious because he's literally helped me implement some of the key characteristics and factors in my leadership that has helped me not only accomplish things, but overcome things, find solutions to things, and think differently. And I'm always grateful to him. And I aim to have this type of impact. Think about it, y'all. This man, John C. Maxwell, don't know me or y'all. He may never see me or meet me, yet he has left an indirect impact on my life. Ain't nothing different between him and y'all, or me, or us. He's literally skin and bones, the same as us. He just answered a calling and showed up, did the things, and made other people the priority. He made other people the priority, and he made sure that he killed what it is that he wanted so that he could go and get the things that he fully desired that were in line with what God had planned for him. But he had to get clear on that, and then he did the things, you know, and all of a sudden now he has one of the most largest leadership development companies on the entire planet, where he trains and leads people all across the world and continuously is adding value, writing books, and attempting to pass it on, because we all know that we are guaranteed nothing else but change and death. We're gonna die. And he knows that whenever that time comes, the baton has to get passed. And you're either gonna leave something let it, I urge y'all, let it be good. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe that he was saying in the legacy. Just like let what you're leaving be good and don't just fall way to the wind. You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus, I don't have no voice ISO sis. I'm so sorry that it's loud here, but I'm wrapping up. I love ya. Oh my gosh, dude, my sis is something serious. Okay. Anyways, I appreciate y'all, and I'm sorry. I'm not sorry I went in. I really the like a lot of the principles he talked about in these last chapters has gotten me through, and is continuously guiding me into where I know God has been calling me, and I'm just grateful. And I thank y'all for honestly adding y'all's perspectives and jumping in throughout this discussion in this call because it has been extremely powerful. So I appreciate you, and I'll pass the thing over to Imani. I can't walk backwards, Mom. You can walk sideways. I don't know if you did, girl, but you got the float.
Hello again. What is up, y'all? Great Kate out here taking us to church. It's not even Sunday. It's not even Sunday, Marcus. Come on. Okay, so the 21 Laws, great wrap up to the book. I am going to just, real quick go over some key things because I didn't actually take notes this week. But there's some things that stuck out to me. Definitely was, I believe, chapter 20, the law of enthusiastic growth, in something growth, basically with the leaders. And I felt such powerful energy, explosive growth. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, explosive growth. I thought that was the most powerful. Damn, that was a powerful one because just based off of the law of timing and based off of the law of timing and how he was talking about the different leaders who have led our world and our country into such a progressive in such a progressive way that they and sacrifice timing and sacrifice is everything. But when it came to explosive growth, it was really about the leaders taking opportunities to believe in the people that are following them to bring them up to be a leader. So Rochelle, you had mentioned about leaders, like how some leaders don't always necessarily do that. And overview of the book, out of everything I've read, I actually didn't even realize that this book would teach me how to look for the right leader and how to get to a place where I am okay. So get to a place where like I actually have a better vision of where I want to go with myself, my business, and even leadership skills. He says having systems in place is great, but they don't really go. They're kind of temporary. They don't really go with you. And I've worked for dozens of companies over the years, and systems change with the times and technology, and systems change with what's happening in the current climate of the business or in just in general. So but the people, he said he was able to leave his legacy behind with people, with a person, I think his name was Mike or something, or Mike, and we'll call him Mike for now. So Mike, he was able to take over for John Maxwell when he decided to retire. So being able, I guess I didn't even think that far. I'm over here building up my business and little by little putting my systems in place. And it had not once crossed my mind to actually have think about how I want to lead my people, like my team, into a progressive, I mean, really, truly progressive motion, in progressive motion. I mean, like, I am so grateful to have met a lot of people that I've met over this past year, including all of you on this call. And now I see that, my business is like about longevity. And am I willing to see this through without the guarantee that I'll be able to see everything come to fruition? Absolutely. You know why? Because if it wasn't for my family doing the same thing, I literally I wouldn't be owning land that just came into my hands. It was because of family members 100 years ago who decided, you know what, we're going to make this happen. And we're going to pass it on to every generation. And every generation, there was some who got rid of the land and some who kept it. And my grandma was some of the ones who kept it. And that is so powerful to me because she's still living and alive and vibrant, thank God. And I just know that, one day she won't be here anymore and she won't necessarily be able to see how far of the growth that came from just her decision to keep this land in our family. And that it's just like, it's beautiful. So yes, I'm 100% willing to see everything go down because I just know that, yeah, it won't affect me, but it'll affect, my people in the future. And that's all that matters to me at the end of the day. I mean, like the changing of the world. I remember I used to say that all the time, Mikkel. I would be like, I'm going to save the world. I have books and I would talk to all my friends and they'd be like, you know what, Imani? I believe you. I think you could. And at one point, alcohol and drugs got in my way and I strayed from my path, but I was still really adamant about being like who I was through all of the mess. So, yeah, I was just really grateful to see like how much progression I've gotten. So this book definitely the growth is so important to actually believe in the people who are following you because I think some people actually need a little push and it's up to a really good leader to actually have that divine timing and know how to really work through the air between the joints, you feel me, where things can be a little stiff. That leader is the release, that cracking of the bones and and releasing all that air. That's how I feel leaders should be, knowing when to crack and when to just bring their followers into a leadership position. I know that he had mentioned something about why spend most of 80% of your time with the people who are only giving 20%, something like that. And, that's kind of like a hard pill to swallow because as a person who wants to, bring people up, I mean, over the years, I have definitely seen that I have to, leave people where they're at, and that's okay. It's not my job to sit up here and try to seek perfection in people who aren't ready. And that was definitely a hard pill for me to swallow. Just it's okay. It's okay if they're not where you think that they are in their mind. As long as the people who are there are ready, you're taking the time and opportunities to push them in a gentle nudge and with that strong leadership quality to actually bring leaders up and having that organization full of leaders who are willing to teach other leaders. And that is how the collective gets bigger. I've had in the past, I didn't really realize that there was people that I was following that was not actually wanting to lead me. So now I have this better understanding of what kind of leadership that I want to be and what leader I want to follow, because every good leader has always had some teacher and somebody to guide them. And now I know what to look for. Now I know what to look for within myself to get myself to that point. And now I can, look for or, meet a person that can actually like believe in me, see me where I'm at, and guide me to that future that I'm looking at. And also now I can do the same so that when one day I'm willing to retire at so and so age, at with this much in my bank, which now y'all, now because of y'all, I'm gonna have to like really know and write that down. Like, okay, when do I want to retire? Because I don't want to be working forever, but I also don't mind like being in it to win it. But now I get to be that change and be the leader that I really want to be. So to create that legacy and that long lasting, to me it's very peaceful, when you have a leader that you can genuinely trust and genuinely believe in to guide you along that way, and also to see how unselfish and how much sacrifice these people are willing to put into you versus into themselves. And Marcus, I really respect you for like admitting that you didn't care as much as you thought you did. I hella respect you because like, yeah, how does one care about all these different people at all these different times, and they're perfect? No, it's not about that. It's just about knowing your strengths, knowing where you can improve, and bringing your team with you. So much respect to all the leaders in here, much respect to myself, because I'm very grateful that I am in that place where I could see these things and see these changes within all of you, myself, and other people. And it's a beautiful thing. So this book definitely, that was my recap on the book. And I think the other one that I really liked, the other chapter, was the trust. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually bringing out a lot of stuff within myself and my childhood and the people I've trusted over the years. And like I said, who I've entrusted me to follow. Because I don't know if y'all been able to tell, but like, I'm very opinionated. I'm very opinionated, and I am a leader, and I believe that my ideas and who I am is really strong and powerful. I know that about myself. And you should come around TGF Network. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'll hit you up and see. I honestly though, like I go back and forth with it because y'all are in direct sales and stuff, and like that's great. And I know it can help me, but I'm also a real estate agent. You feel me? Like I'm in real estate. I do real estate investments. I do everything that is real estate, dealing with property management and everything. I know that's not necessarily y'all forte. So, but we'll see. Well, I'll hit you guys up and see what's up. Cause I really do. Oh, my bad, Mikkel. Okay. I'll hit y'all up and we'll see what's up. Okay.
It was to a different response in the chat, but you just
I have to say, like, but I have like always thought about that, like what kind of leader can take me from like where I'm at to get me to this point. And I have realized, okay, perfect. I have realized that there's things that I have held on to for a very long time that I need to release. Cause like he said something about like leaders don't, something about like petty squabbles or petty something that leaderships don't like allow to basically affect their leadership skills. And I'm just like, you know what? Let's bring it out. Let's see what's up and actually move forward so that I can be the exact leader that I want for myself and the leader that I want to be to other people. So shout out to this book. I'm glad this is one of the last books before the year is over. That's cool. Now we got one more book to go. And then I think that book should bring us into the new year. So I'm really excited about that. Because that's going to be my year one in book club. Okay. I'm very, very happy about that. Well, thank you guys for your time. And I do not know how to say your name, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Yashmal. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm going to call you though, Mr. Bay.
Absolutely, y'all.
Okay, boom. Just to add some clarity, what's up, brother? Welcome to the call. This is our book club we've been doing for the past 3 years, where we read different type of personal development books, not just self-help books, but sometimes there's spiritual books, books on communication and skills that you can improve. But overall, it's really just like for the development of everybody who is a part of TGF Network and open up to everybody who's open to wanting to grow. So this call is completely open to everybody to tune in. And essentially, we've been reading a book called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. So in terms of leaders, he references a few as well, depending on what industries that they were in and what they were essentially leading, or what principles and laws that they were upholding within their leadership and their stories that have played out through that. So we weren't necessarily referencing to one leader per se, but I know that the way that we run these calls is if you have anything that stood out to you, I don't know if you've read the book before, but anything that you heard that you want to touch on, if you don't want to speak at all, that's fine too. But the floor is open, bro. You can say whatever you would like. And then I believe we got one more take from Mikhail, and possibly, maybe before the end of 2024, Miss Tia Steele might share some news as well on what she heard. But anyways, Yashma, I apologize if I incorrectly pronounced that name, but you got the floor, bro. Welcome to the call.
I'd like to remain silent.
Awesome, brother. Well, welcome, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, then I guess I will take the floor then. What up, though? What's poppin', y'all? So first off, my man, welcome to the call for real, Yash. Is it Yashma? Is that how we pronounce it? Mikey, hold on, bud. You're muted again. Hold on.
His name is Yashmel.
Yashmel.
Okay, I will just, you know what? Let me do this real quick. Hold on, y'all. Okay, bet. Nice. Hold on. Let me just go ahead and hop on my phone. Oh, get this from right here. Say co-host. Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right, bet.
Yep.
What up, though? What's poppin', my people? My apologies. Took me a little second there. Had to get situated. My family's all up in there. But y'all, I absolutely have loved everybody's take on the book, everybody's energy today, and just the type of time that everybody is on truly has made me happy. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm grateful. Reading this book, this is now my second time. Yeah, it's my second time reading this. And truthfully, man, this book is just dynamic and it truly hits so many different points from so many different perspectives. And it really wraps it up with a bow tie, honestly, on exactly what life is supposed to look like as a leader. These are laws that we must learn, that we must abide by as well, if we want to actually continue on this process of leadership. And so it was just honestly amazing. I love when we do this. I love the book club. Y'all know vibes. I'm literally so grateful for this space. Truly, just because at the end of the day, there's not too many people that are out here doing this. And I had seen in the chat, my man Yashmel was literally talking about how there's not too many leaders out here that are selfless and everybody has a motive. And truly, this space that we've been able to create, and this is why I said, Yashmel, that you should definitely come around TGF more, is because this space that we've been able to create, it's full of some selfless people who literally hop on here every single Saturday and push themselves to be better, learn how they can be better, and help other people be better. It honestly reminded me of in chapter 19 when John Maxwell was talking about how he created Equip and why he created Equip, as well as rewinding a little bit, he talked about a point in time where he realized there was a need for leaders that were faith driven to actually like get in tune with a program that would help them foster personal growth. And at first he started a radio show, and the show never went big because it was the right idea. It was just the wrong timing. And ultimately, with what we've been able to do here at TGF Network, I feel that the way that we've been able to put this network together and the ways in which we are conducting business, doing business in and outside of the direct sales space as well, like truly, we've been able to put something together that was necessary at scale, but it also is a place where people can literally come and just actively work on themselves. Nobody has any ulterior motive on here. We're not trying to sell each other nothing, no, none of that. We are intentionally just working on ourselves and on our leadership capabilities and on our skills so that as we go into the marketplace, we can check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, one, but also two, we can truly go out into the marketplace and impact the world in a very real way with real change, with real results. And so a lot of people, they talk about leadership, they talk about the leadership they want to see, but a lot of people don't step up and actually become that type of leader. A lot of people don't accept that really that perception of the world that a leader must develop in order to lead and create a new vision. And in that, I'm just grateful because we've created a space right here where you can develop that within yourself as well. And that's why I invite you, bro, hop on every single Saturday. We're here every single Saturday all year long. We are literally conducting business, doing our thing right here every Saturday morning, same Zoom, same time. We start this thing off with a DJ session. So it's lit, y'all. But hopping into this thing, I'm going to start with the law of sacrifice real quick. And I'm going to just breeze through these points because we've gone a little bit long today. And ultimately, everybody has done an amazing job breaking all of it down. So first off, the cost of leadership. You got to give up in order to go up. Majority of people don't realize that once you become a leader, your time is no longer yours. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur until they realize that I traded 9 to 5 to work 9 to 9. And I'm talking 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's crazy. But in that, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, you've literally accepted responsibility for other people's results. Therefore, your time, everything that you have truly is not your own. And you have to become selfless like that. Just like Martin Luther King was literally out here getting arrested, getting stoned, getting stabbed, bombs being thrown at his house, blowing up his porch, putting his family in danger, and ultimately being assassinated for something that he stood for. Are you willing to have everybody else call you crazy, stupid, wild, negative comments, leave negative comments on Facebook, make scam pages of you, all that other BS for you to actually make your vision come to fruition? And a lot of people, they don't take the time to actually make that decision when they get started in entrepreneurship because it's glitz and glam. It's shiny object syndrome in a way that they're going to be able to do something sooner. A lot of people think they make money as an entrepreneur up front, and you actually make money last. You got to pay everybody else first. So in that, you literally got to stand on business. And then aside from standing on business, you got to stand on the shoulders of other giants. And these giants do not just pick anybody to stand on their shoulders. They choose the people that they actually let stand on their shoulders. And with that, also in the process of developing as a leader, it's hard not to be chosen. Hell, it's hard to be chosen. And in that process, you've got to be actively exercise patience. You've got to actually exercise motivation, inspiration to keep yourself going in those times where you're not chosen and to keep yourself from failing in those times where you are. And so all of this takes sacrifice from every side of the coin. And so I just loved the entire chapter of how he broke that down. But when he talked about applying the law of sacrifice, he said to become a more influential leader, are you willing to make sacrifices? Are you willing to give up your rights for the sake of the people that you lead? Like how Marcus woke up today at 9 a.m. and did a presentation for 25 people in Infinity today. Are you willing? Because I promise you, a lot of the 900 plus leaders were not willing to get their ass up and do these presentations, period. Are you willing is a very big question. Give it some thought and create 2 lists. I hope everybody actually does these things where he says, apply these laws into your life. I hope you don't just read the pages and be like, that was a bar. Like, I hope you actually get your notebook out and actually do this. He said to create 2 lists. 1 of the things that you are willing to give up in order to go up. And 2, the things you are not willing to sacrifice to advance. Be sure to consider which list will contain items such as your health, marriage, relationships with children, finances, and so on. 2, living by the law of sacrifice usually means being willing to trade something of value that you possess to gain something more valuable that you don't. King obviously gave up personal freedoms to gain freedoms for others. Rice gave up prestige and influence at Stanford to gain influence and impact around the world. In order to make such a sacrificial trade, an individual must have something of value to trade. What do you have to offer? And what are you currently willing to trade? Your time, energy, and resources. 4, that may give you that greater personal wealth, or excuse me, worth. Like, you've actually got to think about these things intentionally in order to go up, period. The third thing, he said, one of the most harmful mindsets, and this is huge. This is huge. So I hope nobody breezed over this. One of the most harmful mindsets of leaders is what I call destination disease. The idea that they can sacrifice for a season and then arrive. Leaders who think this way stop sacrificing and stop gaining higher ground in leadership. In what areas might you be in danger, because we all are, of having destination disease? Write them down, and then for each, create a statement of ongoing growth that will be an antidote to such thinking. The other day, when I was doing a goal setting call with Katrina, one of the newest members on the squad, I sat down with her and I asked her about her goals. And then I said, okay, what's going to hold you back from this? She said, I'm actually a great motivated person. I said, yeah, but like, what's actually going to get in your way? And she was like, well, and this has nothing to do with destination disease. It literally just has something to do with the practice that he was talking about on the back end. But in that, I had her write down all of the things that she would think that would distract her away. And I had to ask some deeper questions like, okay, when you get up for work, what makes you late? Why are you hitting snooze? When you know you got to do something, what are the things that cause you to not do it? Being tired from work or trying to have too much fun? Okay, I want you to write those 2 things down on a paper and then put a lighter to it and watch it burn. And then I want you to write 2 other things down on a paper about how you will not actually do that and how you commit to your growth. And then we wrote our goals down. And so and I watched her literally watch this paper burn. It's real life things that you actually have to do in order to start conditioning your mind to not believe the stupid excuses that you tell yourself on why you can't be great, period. So getting into the law of timing, this is huge. Me and Marcus have been learning this lesson recently, you know what I'm saying? As we've literally been making a lot of decisions, as we've been moving forward, this book has done wonders for us. But he just talked about the law of timing. He broke down 4 things. The wrong action at the right time, or excuse me, at the wrong time leads to disaster. The right action at the wrong time brings resistance. The wrong action at the right time is a mistake. And the right action at the right time results in success. Period. Ultimately, that takes intuition. That takes experience. That takes understanding the law of timing. That takes all of these things into consideration to make right decisions at the right time. And you will never get it right 100% of the time. You've just got to be willing to sacrifice your personal comfort at times when you're going to fail, to get uncomfortable so that you can go forward and grow through the lesson, not just go through it. And then from there, dipping on into my notes, I'm hopping all around, y'all, because I'm trying to be quickish. Applying the law of timing into your life. He said, 1, it has been said that managers do the right things while leaders, do things right while leaders do the right things. That is bars. Quit playing. I'm going to read that again. It has been said that managers do things right while leaders do the right things. There is a very, 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 very big difference. And it takes intuition to understand when the right thing might not be the right thing, period. So in that, number 2, spend some time analyzing recent failed initiatives for your organization, department, or team to determine whether they were caused by the wrong action or the wrong timing. These initiatives can be yours or others. Jim Rohn, he taught me life is worthwhile if you learn. You can learn from other people's mistakes, or you can learn from your mistakes. One cuts your learning curve, while the second makes you go through it. Get intentional. There's a reason that we read these books and they talk about their bad things just as much as they talk about their successes. Literally. But also in that, take that lesson into your personal leadership. And as you go and develop others, understand that developing others takes you being vulnerable about your successes as well as your failures. Real quick, to answer a question, I'm gonna just jump ahead real fast. Boom. To answer a question Roshizi had in the chat, and I posted the page number of page 191, but she asked, what's the difference between spending time with others and investing time with others? Because this is the difference, especially when it comes to this law of timing, period. But in that, leaders who attract, let me bounce back. So before I go into that, leaders who attract followers treat everyone the same. Leaders who develop leaders treat individuals differently. And this is what I meant by being chosen and not being chosen at different times. In that process, when you're literally leading people, like, you've got to understand that as a leader, the person that they choose, they're going to give access to more resources, more relationships. Why? Because they feel that that person is more responsible with the actual things that they are going to give them. And if a leader does not feel that way about you, you've just got to step up or step out. It's one of the two. If you actually believe in that leader's vision, if you actually believe in where that leader's going, stick around, and eventually they choose you, period. But it's a process of leadership. Shout out the law of the process. But when we get into spending time with others versus investing time with others, it's wild. It says leaders who attract only followers never develop them and don't increase the value of those they lead. However, and this is the difference between spending time and investing time. As you're spending time, you are not developing a person. Spending time damn near could equate to wasting time if we're talking about leadership. If we're talking about life, I'm not wasting time when I'm kicking it with my family, but I also am pouring into my kids every single chance that I get. I'm pouring into my wife every single chance that I get. I'm developing the leaders that I'm raising and that are being raised around me. Period. That's the difference between investing and spending time. If we're just sitting here watching a movie together and we're not really doing anything of value, of substance at all whatsoever, except literally spending time, then that is what we are doing. But to invest time literally means, however, when leaders take time to develop the leaders they attract, they are making a valuable investment in them. Every moment they spend helps to increase their ability and influence, and that pays dividends to them and the organization. Sam is on this call. Sam has been on plenty of calls with myself. He has kicked it plenty of times with Marcus. And I know that he can recognize the difference between when we are investing time and when we are spending time. Because he'll get off the call and be like, yo, that 15, 20 minutes that I just spent with y'all, bro, everything that we just talked about, thank you for that. Because that was real value. Because we're actually asking intentional questions and looking to develop this leader, period, point blank. So that is really that biggest difference. He talked about a lot of things. I took notes on all those, but just for the sake of time, and I have another call coming up, literally trying to speed through all my notes. But in that, when it comes to leaders leading, people just focus on their strengths. Leaders who attract followers focus on weaknesses. Leaders who attract and develop leaders, they just focus on strengths. Literally, their blinders on, focused exactly where they're trying to get to and where they want to go. If you dial in on your strengths, we can go recruit your weaknesses, period. I was not a very organized person. So who did I literally ask to become the co-founder of the company? Marcus Rivera, one of the most organized people that I know in my entire life. I recruited exactly what I'm not. I did not try and go get more organized. I recruited a person who was way more organized than me. And then I paid attention because I understand that you can learn something from everybody. And I started taking notes and I started to become a little bit more intentional. Why? Because I chose somebody to pass the baton to that I know for a fact has way more potential to do way more than I've ever done. Period. Helped and trained thousands of leaders. This man will help and train millions. And it's inevitable. And y'all can hear it when he speaks. You can see it when he moves, as well as you can definitely understand it when you look at his daily actions as well. And that really just leads me right into like the law of explosive growth and honestly, the law of the legacy. Like, first step is developing yourself. Second step is developing your team. Third step is developing leaders. Sometimes we get confused on where we are because sometimes we'll have a small team and think that they're all leaders. And then we have to real life take inventory as a leader, like who's actually leading, and let's go develop them. Because as he said, leadership influence is a verb.
It is something you are actively doing. It is not a position that you are in, period, point blank. And so in that, I absolutely love how John Maxwell has put that together. And ultimately for myself, it's something that I've always lived by. Why? Because, man, at the end of the day, that's just all it's about. Like, it's about the results. And when I look at it, when I looked at Marcus, I was like, this dude is doing every single thing. When we got started learning about trading 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, we didn't start TGF. That's not when this idea was founded. We honestly kept a whole different name for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like a minute, truly. And then we actually founded the business towards the end of that later year. Like it was like
Shout out Big
4 6
Shots.
months. Yeah, shout out Big Shots. If you're an OG, you know. If you know, you know. But in that, we were Big Shots at first, period. And when this became the Global Family Network is when we started to intentionally work on ourselves. It was right around the same time we actually started our own book club. It's wild. So truly, I'm grateful for where we are because in that process, I've definitely understood when we've started to get into developing leaders. And then when we get back to developing our team and when we have to go into developing ourselves. And it's something that you must consistently, you're going to travel between all three of those stages. But that first stage, as they say, stay in phase one in direct sales. That is phase one. You've always got to be working on yourself. And when he talked about the log of the legacy, it's the last note, man, it was a bar. I'm not going to lie to you. He said, when I reached my 40s, my focus changed again. I'm in my 30s, about to be in about 30, 40 days. And it's wild because my focus has been changing. In the very beginning of my career, I just wanted to be the best. That's why I was the top 5 recruiter in my first company. That's why we put thousands of people into that company. And that's also why, like I said, I was a top recruiter and personal recruiter. Why? Because I wanted to be the best. I didn't want to go and train the best. I wanted to be the best. I was smacking everybody's record and I was coming for everything, period, point blank. And in the beginning, if I'm not going to lie to you, doesn't matter what you do, that's where it's low key going to start if you're going to make some waves. You're going to come in like, I need to be the best, period, point blank. And I'm smacking everybody else's record. And if you think you're doing something, you better think again and you better get running because I'm coming, period. And that's the type of energy I can literally call people right now. And they will tell you that I said that to them, those exact words, when I was 19 years old, getting started in the direct sales space. I was coming for it all. But now, as I've grown, honestly, back in like 2020, something changed when we had this event in Arizona. I don't even remember who got up and spoke. It was directly after Kobe had passed as well. There was just a lot of emotion going on in the arena. There's about 10,000 people there at the Glendale Gila River Arena. And they dropped the promo that day. And I just realized right then and there, this is not for me to be the best. I want everybody around me to live their best life. So I need to call them and tell them that. And that's when I started to take the work that I had done to break records. And I took the yearly and made it the weekly. Exactly what we did in our first year, I doubled it in 7 days. And then we went and took it to the next level and then the next level. And that just broke the lid of success. Shout out to that first chapter. That broke up the lid of success. And from there, that's how we popped out, myself and 15 other 6-figure earners in our organization in the next 10 months. The reason why is because my focus shifted from wanting to become the best in order to actually build and lead organizations that can make a difference. I wanted to build and lead an organization that made a difference. And over the next 10 months, we were. But it was the right idea at the wrong time because we were doing that in a travel company in 2020. Whole world couldn't really travel like that. Yet we're out here selling 5,000 plus memberships to a freaking travel company when nobody's even booking a flight. It's crazy. But I had a whole different type of vision. And then from there, the next year, I got into that space and created one person who was literally the best, developed a leader who became one of the top recruiters for that company in their first 90 days. And then from there, that next step, I was like, okay, let's actually build and create an organization. And in that process, that's when I really had started to meet Marcus. We started to get tough. We ended up making the decision to come into education. And we ended up actually creating what we believe now will be our lasting legacy with TGF Network. It's very similar to exactly how John Maxwell created Equip. We created this thing knowing for a fact that this part is free. Period. Hop on here every single Saturday. You don't need to pay us anything. We hopped on here doing this and knowing like, yo, the Bible study is a free space because we want to develop leaders in the way that they should go. We wanted to not only know the way, we wanted to go the way and show the way in the process as well. And so we developed all of these systems. And for me personally, y'all, with the legacy that I want to leave, literally, I've been saying it for about 4 or 5 years now. I just want to create a wealthy community. And in building a wealthy community, wealth is way more than just some bread. It is way more than that. I want to build a community that goes out and impacts the world. That's why the first step was 100,000 leaders. And if I'm going to be real, anybody who's listening to my voice right now, even if you're watching the recording, as a leader who calls himself part of TGF Network, if you look at our homepage and you see what our global vision is, and that is to amass a global network of over 100,000 entrepreneurs, I want to truly ask, what are you doing to help with that? Because truly, like, if you're going to be a leader here, you got to buy into the vision, correct? In that, like, I love how he actually broke it down when he was like, yo, I'm going to tell these leaders that for the next 3 years, each and every single year, they need to develop 25 new leaders, people that are going the way, showing the way, and literally doing it. They're in the process. They're using influence as a verb and not just a noun. Or excuse me, an adjective, really. But in that, like, people are really moving in the way. And he really broke it down to a numeric value of like, yo, here's what I want my people to go and do. Here's what I want my people to go and accomplish. And in that, I believe that Marcus and I have never sat down and actually done that, done the math on exactly what it takes. We were just moving purely by passion, instinct, and intention and intuition. And in that, I believe that as we take these next steps forward and we really go and apply all of these 21 laws, we can truly get to a new space as a team and as a company together and really go and hit that next level. That's what type of time that I am on. That's the type of legacy that I want to go and leave as well. And in that, as we all go forward, those of you that are part of the leadership of TGF, that is definitely a conversation that we're going to be having here in Q4 as we get ready to launch into Q1. So it's game time, for real, not for play. And truly, I just appreciate everybody being a part of this space. I really do, because ultimately, this right here is something that I never had as a leader growing up. I literally had to do this on my own. I had to find this book. It was given to me by a random guy who literally, he walked up to me, seen I broke a couple world records, and he was like, yo, you need to read this. That's how I first found this book. I wasn't a part of a community that was doing this. The community that me and Marcus were part of 3 years ago literally said that this thing every single Saturday was a stupid idea. Now, we've been doing this shit for 3 years. We've impacted hundreds, if not that. We have over 1,000 people that have come through our CRM on our website. Some stupid idea is lit. But truly, y'all, like, each and every single Saturday, that's why we're going to keep doing it. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the environment. It's not about how anybody else feels. It's not about any type of monetary gain that you're going to get. It's literally about what's going to happen right after you die. You are going to have to answer for this one time that you had at bat and every single thing that you did in it, every single decision that you made in it, every single person that you impacted in it. And if y'all really, like, if you pay attention on this Bible study, we all be reading and what's actually happening in Revelation, yo, you know what you need to do. You know what our main job is. And so you've got to ask yourself, how can my passions, my skills, my know-how, my network, my relationships, my resources, how can they align with that of my ultimate goal that is way past the end of my days? And then you've got to work on it. And if you ain't working on it, you're going to feel bad. You're going to keep yourself up at night and you're going to be stressed out and feel overwhelmed at different times because you know that there's things that you need to do. So in that, in a matter of like actually settling down into your priorities, I feel like this book really just laid out exactly what you should be focused on. Between everything that we got going on, y'all, it's literally now it's just about executing on these laws continuously, period. So I'm really excited for this next book. I'm gonna just go into it real quick. 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, right, Marcus? Oh yeah, whack, we're playing. This is one of the ones that we read every year, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, y'all, because it's that powerful. Now, one, it's extremely short. It's only about 113 pages, if I'm not mistaken. So we will literally wrap this up before the end of the year for sure. But in that, the book literally in its entirety, it goes through the spiritual laws we just went through like the laws of leadership, but there's a whole nother set of 7 laws that you have to abide by. Period. Laws are that. You have to abide by them. Period, point blank. So in that, once you really understand how this thing goes, you can actually formulate your value, your like position in the process as well. And what it's done for us, this next book, honestly, for me, this changed the entire game. This started the process of me changing my goals, how I went from wanting to be the best in order to build the best. It was very different. But in that process, this was the book that I read that actually made me start giving a damn about other people and stop giving a damn about my current results. It literally gets into your spiritual self. So I'm very excited for everybody to really take this one home, because this one going to be one of them. And I'm excited for the next 4 discussions as we really wrap this thing up. So I appreciate everybody wholeheartedly. As I said 1.5 million times, this space is one of one, period, point blank. Bro, Sheezy, I appreciate you continuously telling people about it as well. You literally damn near got a new person on here every single Saturday. I truly appreciate that, because what you're doing is you're literally exposing people to a whole different mindset that is not normal. It is not regular. So I appreciate you for that wholeheartedly. It does not go unnoticed, at all whatsoever. And let's continue to disperse and multiply, as I say every single Saturday. And I will see y'all on the next one. But Marcus, if you've got anything else to add, go ahead, bro.
It is a little loud in here. My apologies, family. My family is in mode with Christmas time, so they got the Christmas banging and moving. I'm over here giddy. I don't know if y'all ever seen Elf. Yeah, I be him. Be yelling Santa the whole 9 yards. I be loving Christmas time. Anyways, they got music in the background. All I just want to let y'all know is I apologize. I haven't got the promo out yet for the next book. That'll be out before the end of the day. Honestly, I'm working on it right now, so it'll be out. You'll have that. You'll see what chapters are going to be covered when as well before the end of the day. Boom! It's like you were typing. I read your mind, Roshizi. It'll be for sure chapter 1, so you can start reading and then read chapter 1. It might be 1 and 2. I can't remember if it was 2 and 3 that we put together or another pair. But essentially, it's 7 chapters long, very quick read, but a lot of in-depth material. And I'm super excited, if you've never read the book, how it's gonna implement some things. That one changed some things for your boy. You know what I'm saying? It's up there, not right next, but like a little below the Bible for me in terms of like what actually impacted and helped me get in motion with actually living out these principles. Shout out, my light be flying away from me, but shout out Deepak. It's gonna be one of them ones, y'all. It's already
Shout out Deepak for real.
And
hey, look, y'all. He didn't even want to read it at first. Marcus is playing modest right now. He didn't even want to read it. I had to tell his ass about it for like 2 months, and I was like, Negro.
well, I didn't have it, and then I didn't have it.
I was like, stop reading what you're reading and go pick it up right now.
My mom bought it for my birthday one year.
Shout out, mama.
And I was quote unquote reading. When you read by yourself, I was quote unquote reading Think and Grow Rich for about 2.5 years at that time. I was like, yeah, bro, let me finish this book, man. He's like, dude, that first chapter is literally less than 20 pages. You can get that done in less than 15 minutes. So I'm going to give you 10. Call me back. Or don't call me if you ain't read. I was like, okay. So I hung up and I read the first chapter and I was hooked. And literally that opened up the door and flooded. And I was like, whoa, I've been really sleeping on the power of reading books. I really have, because I read plenty of textbooks in my life. I read plenty of pages in my life, but reading the books and applying them changes the game. So I'm excited. Mama Mary is going to be with us as well. And she, honestly, that was her first book. That was the first book I gave to my brother. It's changed our whole family's paradigm. It's an amazing fire book. So I can't wait to hear y'all's perspectives and to dive into it. I will post that stuff by end of day. I appreciate you guys always adding value, always serving yourself so that you can serve others. And I can't wait to see the leaders we turn into as we apply these 21 laws. Make sure you go over these laws, your notes, and apply these things. Much love, and we'll see y'all on the next one. God bless. As always, see y'all at the top. Bob's way too crowded. Much love, man.
Love y'all. TTYL.
TTYL.